Hi kids, welcome back to Cooking with Stuff. So today I'm doing an all-day pasta sauce. So as always, go ahead and saute up a large onion and about 6 cloves of garlic in a large stock pot with a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. And you're going to start cutting up your tomatoes. I use Roma tomatoes. It's a cooking tomato. They break down pretty easy. What you're going to do is you're going to quarter those tomatoes, put them in a big bowl, and salt your tomatoes liberally. The salt will help break the tomatoes down easier while they're cooking. After you get your tomatoes salted and in your pot, you can start cutting up your bell pepper and fresh herbs. Fresh herbs makes all the difference with a pasta sauce, and they're really easy to find. They're usually in your produce section. After you get all that incorporated into the pot, if you have a immersion blender, go ahead and use that. I don't have one of those yet, so I used a old school potato masher. Once you do that, you can go ahead and add your tomato juice. Now, if you want a more concentrated sauce, don't use 3 jugs of tomato juice like I do. Just use 2. Now, for your meat for your sauce, I had started these the night before. 5 Italian sausages, 2 fat cloves of garlic, you don't even have to cut it up, and a nice beef roast. I cooked it all night on low heat. It's just what I put in my spaghetti sauce. If your roast has any fat on the outside of it, go ahead and peel that off. It should just come right off. That way you don't have big gobs of fat floating around inside your spaghetti sauce. Try not to eat all your meat before you throw it in your sauce. Also, this is when you add your mushrooms. As of right now, you should have about an hour and a half of cook time on your sauce. And that Italian sausage was absolutely amazing. Okay. So here was the worst part. By no means feel the need to make homemade pasta. There is nothing wrong with store-bought pasta. This was a horrid pain in the ass. But if you want to give it a go, it tasted really good. So do your 4 eggs, your 4 cups of all-purpose flour, and a pinch of salt. You want to make a volcano-looking thing with your flour. Scrape the bottom of your work surface so that you're incorporating as much flour into that as you can, but you got to do it slowly. Once you're able to get some hands on it and it's not sticky, you're going to start kneading. You're going to knead this ball of dough for about 10 minutes so it turns the gluten on. I'm doing finger quotes here. Turns the gluten on. It's just awful. I have so much respect for old school Italian grandmothers who used to make homemade pasta for like 10 plus people for Sunday dinners or whatever. This was the hardest thing I've ever tried to do. Because once you get your dough rolled out and all kneaded together and it has some elasticity to it, and by that I mean when you push down on it, it should bounce back a little bit. Once you get to that point, you can go ahead and start cutting it up and dividing it into sections. Once you divide it into sections, you need to flour those sections and start running it through your pasta machine. I have a hand crank pasta machine, and it did not cut the noodles, it scored the noodles. So then you had to pull each noodle apart. It was a horrid pain in the ass. But the ravioli that I made, the ravioli was easy. Like I would make ravioli again. But with my particular pasta maker, that was easier than making the noodles. Because it wants you to start on a 7 thickness and take it to like a 2 or 3. And as you can see, I had to run it through you gotta run it through like 5 or 6 times. It was just an absolute debacle. Do not recommend. But it did taste good. And fresh pasta has a different bite to it than regular pasta. But if you are going to make it, you are going to make noodles, be sure to flour your noodles so that they don't stick together, because mine did. This was actually my second batch of pasta. The first batch got scraped and thrown in the trash. But by the end of this, I was so flustered and just absolutely fed up that I didn't even remember to record anything after I made the pasta. So, it will get the better of you. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have a good one.